Hey, hi everyone, this is Mukesh otwani from learn-automation.com. In this video, we are going to talk about different locators which is present in Selenium WebDriver. Now, before I move into the actual part, let's talk about high-level agenda which we have planned for today. So throughout the session, we'll talk about what exactly is locator, different type of locators which are present in Selenium. And then we will also talk about a separate class called by class, because the moment you start working with locators you need to understand a new class which you have to use throughout the Selenium session is the by class. So we'll talk about it, and then we will talk about how to use these locators. So we have totally 8 locators, so which one to use, when to use, we'll see each and everything in this session. And the most important question, which locator is faster? This question you will get frequently in interviews, like which locator did you prefer and which locator is the faster. And when it comes to fast, or when I talk about when it comes to speed and everything, which locator you prefer, give me the order of preferences. So we'll talk about this as well once we finish this video. So first of all, what is locator? As the name says, it is one of the technique, okay, through which you will be locate the element on a web page. Not only web page, it can be anything, whether you take desktop application or any other application, or not only with Selenium, take any other automation tool which exists in this planet. If you need to work with any web element or any other element, first of all you have to locate that element. So locator is just one of the technique to find element on that particular page or tool. Or let's say this guy has a name through which you can easily identify him, right? But again, name is a problem, that name can be duplicate. Next thing, you can identify this guy with an email. So email can be like, this guy can have multiple emails. But when it comes to I say driving license number or passport number, these things cannot be duplicate. So for this guy, these are the locators: name, email, phone number, passport, driving license, and his address, anything. So for this guy, these are the locators. Same thing will be applicable for our Selenium as well. So whenever you have any web page and you need to identify that web page, you need locators. So you can see we found some challenges here, that name, email can be duplicates, but passport and DL cannot be duplicate. Like the same way, we have locators which can be unique, which can be duplicates as well. So let's talk about these locators first. So guys, we have total 8 locators in Selenium WebDriver. So generally people count this as 7, but actually there are 8 locators. Okay, I will tell you each and every locator in detail. So if you start, we have ID, okay, then we have name, then we have class name. So these are called direct locators. So when I say direct locators, like you don't need to write anything for these locators. You can get these details directly from the web page. You don't need to write any expression, you don't need to write any custom function or something like that. You just get these details directly from the web page. So these 3 locators known as direct locators. The next 2 locators which we are going to talk about is indirect locators, which is XPath and CSS. Why we call this as direct and indirect? Because these things you will not get directly, you need to write the custom expressions. Okay, so XPath and CSS both are again different ways or locators to identify any element on a web page. Now when you work with the dynamic applications, definitely you need to use XPath and CSS, but when it comes to static pages, you can go with ID name, class name as well. Again, don't worry, I will tell you when to use what, but these are the locators which will be applicable for any type. I will repeat again, these locators can be applicable for any kind of web element. But the next thing which we are going to talk about is the 6th locator, which is linked text. Okay, the linked text and the partial linked text, these you cannot apply with any other web element. This can be only linked or used with the links, hyperlinks. If you try to use this with any other web element, it will throw exception. Okay, and the last locator which we have is the tag name. Many people don't consider this as a locator, but this is one of the locator, and it is highly useful when you have the web element of the similar type. I will talk about this in detail in the coming sessions, but for the time being, just remember we have 8 locators. First 3 are the direct locators, which you don't have to write in expressions. Then XPath CSS, you need to write expressions, and these are highly useful when you have the dynamic web application. The last like the link text and partial link text, these are only applicable for links. You cannot use with any other web element like radio button, check boxes, input boxes. And the last is the tag name. Whenever you have singular kind of web element and you need to do some operations, you want to extract them, go with the tag name. So let's see one by one. So I am using Mac, and this is my project, and let me create a fresh package, and this package I will say locators demo. And let's create our first class. This class name I will say locators example, and you can just say public static void main. Those who are completely new to Selenium, and if you don't have Eclipse and Selenium installed in your system, I will give you one video in the description. Just go ahead and follow the steps. You will be able to download Eclipse, Selenium, everything in your system. Now I'm going to use this particular Chrome driver which is in my system in order to save my time, so that we can focus more on locators part. So I'm going to create a fresh session using Chrome driver. So I will say WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver, and with these two particular statements my browser will be in a starting mode. Then I will immediately pass the URL, and I'm good to go with the locators. Now in order to demonstrate locators, okay, I will tell you which we can use. So I have taken these 3 applications through which I can explain all these locators one by one. Now for XPath and CSS, we have dedicated sessions. Okay, so you can see this. I will give you this playlist in the description, how to create dynamic XPath. And so these 2 videos are for XPath, and this particular video is for CSS. Okay, so for these 2 locators we have a dedicated video, so I will not focus much here because you can cover after this. So I will focus only the remaining 6 locators which we have. And for demonstration I am taking this application, but this is just for demo purpose. You can take any applications or anything which is on the web. These concepts will be applicable. So let's start with let's say this guy, orange HRM. Okay, and let's right click on this particular web element and let's say inspect. Okay, so you can see we have one input box. You can see this is a tag. This is called attributes or properties. So this particular web element have one locator called ID. This is the direct value, so we call this as the direct locator. You can just copy this particular ID and you can use it. And I will tell you the merits, demerits of each locator. So let's see one by one. The moment you start using these locators, you will be using find element. So find element is a method which will accept by as an input. So this by is actually a class. Okay, I will tell you. And the moment you say type ID, it says a by which locates element a value with ID attribute. So whatever ID you will pass here, okay, in our case it is text username. I will pass it here, and you're done. It will find that element with this particular ID. If this exists, it will return you web element. So what is web element? Web element is an interface, okay, which will represent web element on a web page. You're just storing in a username variable. Let me give this as uname. So this, when you talk about non-technical terms, these are locator, but when you talk about technically, this is a method. So the moment you say method, you can say by is a class, id is a static method of by class, and it accepts string as a parameter, and what it returns by. This is very tricky part, guys. Many people don't cover this part, but this is how it works, and in many interviews they might ask this question. Okay, so let me show you first this part, then I will explain this by class again. The moment you say this will return you web element. Now you can play with this web element. At this particular moment, I just want to say send keys, and whatever send keys I will say, send keys is nothing but a method which will enter into a text box, and it will enter this particular text. Now second is, this is guys first locator, which is id. Very straightforward. Sometimes id will be dynamic. In that case you have to go with XPath and CSS, but if IDs are static, go with IDs. These are direct locators, these are always faster. Now in order to cross verify, we can run our Java application. If this works fine, we will continue with the remaining locators. So it will start the session, and it will find with that ID. If it exists, it will enter, and as usual it entered. Perfect. Now if you understand this part, now let's talk about this by class. I will not take much time because it's a very small class, but for your information you should know. So the moment you say by dot, let's say I'm talking about a new locator called name. So this time I'm saying I will be using a name locator. Technically name is a method of by class, and the moment you say, let's say this particular password field, you can see we have a name equal to txt password. This is also direct locator. The moment you say this, you are done. Now you need to simply pass this by class into your final element. So if you don't want to use this, let me show you how internally it works. The moment you put mouse over on this, it says I will return a by class instance. So you need to store in a by, let's say, pass variable. So it actually returns your object of by class that you stored in a pass variable. Now next time you will say driver.find element pass dot send keys, and whatever send keys you want to do. So this is how internally it works. So by is a class. All these locators which we are going to discuss today, these are the static methods under by class. It returns by class object that you have to pass here. But many people don't follow this. They directly write in this way. Okay. That is also fine, but this is how internally it works. So the second locator which we discussed just now is the name locator. Now name locator is a very direct, straightforward locator. Whatever you will find under name attribute, you need to just pass as it is and it will work. Again, IDs, names can be dynamic. If they are dynamic, you need to go with XPath and CSS. But what do I mean by dynamic? Let's say right now I have a username. Okay, let's say this is my id equal to username. So I will not call this as a dynamic, but the moment you refresh the page and if it is coming like username 111, it's a dynamic because it is changing. The moment you refresh, next time it will be username 123 or username 124. So it is changing every time, but one part is fixed. In that case, definitely we'll go with XPath and CSS. But whenever you have digits included or any number included in the locators, just be little careful because they might change. Clear? Next is class name. Now class name is little dangerous because class name will not be unique. Okay, because let's say this particular form, okay, which is this form, let's say they might share a common class, they might fall under one class. Let's talk about this. So you can see we don't have any class here, but the moment you have class, this class can be unique, cannot be unique. But if you see this class is which is text input container. So this username and password, they both are sharing one class name because they fall under one category, right? But if you use it, if it is unique, definitely you can go with it. But I generally don't recommend this because many times class name will not be unique. So you can easily check. How you can check? The moment you copy paste this, like just copy this class and just paste it here, you can see two matching node, two of two. First one is this, second one is this. So definitely you'll get two matching node and you need to just handle it via code. But let's use it at least. So how to use, again I will say driver dot find element by dot class. So you can see class name is a method and this is the class name, and again I can say dot click. I'm not running each and every time because here we are focusing on the locators. The moment you use these locators, when you run this program, definitely they will work. So as of now, just focus on the concept. So the first locator ID, second one is the name, third one is the class name that which you have seen just now. Now fourth one is XPath and CSS. As I said, please refer the video which I have already created. They are very good. I have covered each and everything in detail. If you find still some issues, we will discuss. But for this demo, let me at least write one code. The moment you say by dot, you can say we have a XPath is a method, the XPath which we have to use, and you can say dot click or type whatever you wish. Next is CSS. So same we will do for CSS, driver dot find element by dot CSS. So you can see the method name is CSS selector. It's not only CSS, method name is CSS selector. Whatever CSS you will pass, it will accept. So for the time being, you can right click on this. The moment you say copy, you can see it is giving one option: copy XPath, copy full XPath, copy selector. So the moment you say copy XPath, you will get one XPath here. Same goes with CSS. If you want to work with CSS, you can say, again inspect this, right click, copy selector, and your CSS is ready. Cool. The last point, not the last three which we have to use. So these are the first five. For the last three, let me create a separate program. We have link text. Now link text, you can see here we have one link called forgot your password. Now this link you can see we can directly use. So you can say driver dot find element by link text, and one important point here, you need to give the exact text. If you miss any of this text, it will not work. The moment you just run this, forget your password, link text, if it matches it will click, else it will fail. It will say no such element exception. So you can say it clicked on this and it navigated to forget password page. Now the moment you don't remember or you don't have the you don't have the complete link text, you can go with another method which is partial link text. Now this is actually very important method because many times happens that your links are dynamic, but you will find a pattern that these links have at least one pattern in common. Okay, so let me show you an example. If I give you an option like click here for sign up, this is one text. Next time when you refresh page, it says click here for joining us. Next time it says click here for part of our team. It can be anything, but you found a pattern that this particular thing is constant, rest everything is changing. So in this case, if you want to, and all these are links guys, okay, so if you found a pattern, then you can only give this part, and you can say if this particular link have this particular text, it should find out. So whenever you have dynamic links, okay, and one part is fixed and other part is keep on changing, definitely you can use a partial link text. Okay, this is I can use the same example. If I just give forgot your, because next time it can be forgot your credentials, forgot your details, forgot about account details. It can be anything, not only forgot your password, it can be forgot your username, credentials, details, but forgot your will remain fixed. In that case, I will just give, this is the sixth one, seventh one, driver.find element by partial link text, and you just give forgot your and say dot click. Just comment this section and you will notice it will work. So this is link text locator, this is partial link text, and let's run this. Hope it will work for partial link text if it is matching with a single record. So the moment you start using partial text, partial links, okay, if there's multiple keywords found with this keyword, which is forget your, you will get multiple records. In that case, you have to deal with it. So in the upcoming sessions already we have seen. So you will, once you move forward to the next videos, you will get to know. Last one is the eighth locator, which is tag name. As the name says tag name, if you don't want specific properties or XPath CSS you want to give, you can directly give the tag name. Now what is tag name? Tag name is this. You can see this anchor tag. We have this input tag, span tag. These are actually tags. So if you want to work with a similar kind of web element, let's say you have 1,000 links, 1,000 input boxes, 1,000 check boxes, and you need to iterate them. There are multiple ways, but tag name is very straightforward. When you have similar kind of web elements, use the tag name. It will return you all the web elements in a list. I will repeat again. Okay, let's take this example. These four links have the similar images, right? So they all are nothing but img tag. You can see there, when you click here, it's img tag. So this is four images, this is one image, and you might find one more image. Now if I have a requirement that I need to find how many images I have, so when the moment you say img 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, so img is a tag, right? Now I can use this tag and I can use it to find element and find elements as well, but it will give you the maximum benefit the moment you use with find elements. For the timing, I will just give img. It will return one web element and you can use it. But the moment you use with driver.find elements by tag name, let's say img, then only it will give the maximum benefit, because tag name is the best combination with the find elements, because this is also dealing with multiple web elements, this is also dealing with multiple web elements. So just let me show you this part guys. Hope you will understand this if you are familiar with list. If not, once you move forward you will understand how it works. For the time being, what I did, I am writing a small piece of code where I am saying find all the images on this web page and give me the counts. So this is returning me a list of web elements and I'm calling a size method of list. So in this case it should give me the count as 6. and you will find here. Okay, so it is able to find 5 images and it is giving its count as 5. Perfect. Now this is how you can work with these locators. Now come back to the final point, which locators are faster? Definitely the direct locators are always faster. When you say direct locators, it is ID, name, class name. These are direct locators, they're always faster. But when you come when you talk about dynamic elements, you need to use XPath series. They are not that slow, but when it compares with direct locators, they're little slow. But everybody use XPath CSS because we have dynamic application. So the order of preferences, if you ask me, I will suggest if you have static IDs, go with the static IDs. Definitely this will be the high preference. But if you don't have direct locators, if you don't have static IDs, if they're changing every time, go with XPath CSS. And if you don't want to use link text, partial link text, that is also fine because you can still deal with them with XPath CSS. But they already have given you the direct locators, so in spite of using your XPath CSS, style, you can directly go with these locators. The last question which I want to highlight, even though we have seen we are getting 6 images, but why it is returning 5? Because some of the images, if you see this pattern, you will find at multiple places. Can you see this image and second image? Second image come also override the first images. I will show you again. You can see the first image. The moment you second image, it is covering the first image as well. So when it comes to, if we see manually it says 6, but internally there are 5 images because this is overriding the previous image. So don't get confused with the numbers which we see here and which we see on the program. So I hope you are clear from interview point of view. Just remember 8 locators: ID, name, class name, XPath CSS, link text, partial link text, and the last one is tag name. Tag name you can only use when you have to deal with multiple web elements of similar type. Best combination is the find elements. Okay, do not use with a single web element, it won't help you. When you have dynamic web elements, go with XPath CSS. If you have static applications, go with ID, name, and class name. Okay, that's all I have from my side. I will give you all the videos link in the description in case if you want to watch that XPath CSS video, please do that. And if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, click on the bell notification, and if you have any other query, just let me know in the comment section or you can mail me. Thank you so much guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.